Good afternoon, Pokesports, and welcome to another Best Sets video where I'm going to be talking to you all about one of the final starters that we haven't gone over yet. If you want to see the other two starters best sets, go and click the link up there to go and see those. Kevin's been talking about those, and I am going to be talking to you about the Pokemon that I have been playing the most with, Meowscarada. Meowscarada is a really interesting Pokemon because it's a Pokemon whose pieces we've seen before. The grass and dark type we've seen in Shiftry, we've seen in Cacturne. The Protean ability we've seen in Greninja, we've seen in Libero with Cinderace, but this Pokemon kind of mushes it all together and shows us just kind of what the middle ground of all of those would look like. Cinderace had really high attack, Greninja had really high both attack and special attack, and then Meowscarada had really high attack and then kind of high-ish special attack, giving it the potential to be a mixed attacker, but honestly, with its movesets, it's mostly going to be a physical attacker. It's a very, very scary Pokemon, not just because of its typing, not just because of its ability, but because of its moves, its signature move, in fact. And we're going to get into some of those sets right now. Now, getting into Meowscarada here, you might notice that the first thing that we see is this psychic immunity, which is really, really strong, especially in a starter. It means that you're able to switch it into incoming psychic attacks. It means that you're able to not worry about certain psychic Pokemon that only have psychic moves. Now, what I will say is I would caution a little bit about psychic Pokemon because a lot of psychic Pokemon do have a fairy coverage move just to handle those dark types, because otherwise they would be completely walled by them. But you'll also notice the weaknesses over here: fire, ice, fighting, poison, flying, bug, and fairy. Those are all super, super strong and super, super common types that Meowscarada does not want to face, especially that bug typing right there. Now, what that means is that Protean, its ability, is going to be super, super valuable. Now, Protean in Generation 9 has been changed to only activate once per switch in, so you're going to have to be a little cautious with how you're using it, but you can definitely make really good use of it. Meowscarada is really fast. It has 123 base speed, which means that it's going to outspeed a lot of the things that don't have priority in this game. The speed tiers in Scarlet and Violet have kind of dropped down a little bit. Not a lot of Pokemon are out there that are super, super fast, unlike the previous generation. That might change once home drops or once, upcoming DLC happens. But for now, Meowscarada is really fast. Really, really fast. Now, like other Protean users, it has a very diverse moveset, right? You want to be able to really leverage that, to take advantage of that. And so Meowscarada, for this reason, has Flower Trick, Knock Off, Play Rough, and Protect in this set. In VGC, you're definitely going to want to have some kind of move that will keep your Pokemon safe, at least for that one turn that you're trying to figure stuff out, right? And then on your next turn, you can go and use your high speed plus a Flower Trick to go and make yourself just a mono grass type and only take 2 times damage from that bug, or hit with a knockoff and still only take 2 times damage from that bug, or go with Play Rough and now you're with a completely different resistance and weakness set altogether. For this set, we've selected having a focus sash just to really keep your Pokemon alive and give 1 or 2 of those really hard hits, because there's a lot of times where you will use a Protean move, switch to a different Protean type, and then still take super effective damage or still take big damage, especially because Meowscarada's HP, defense, and special defense are all in the 70s, right? Meowscarada is by and large not a tanky Pokemon, but you can definitely get a good couple of hits in. Moving on to the second set, you'll probably notice 2 things. 1, that we still have Protect, and 2, that Flower Trick, Knockoff are still there. Personally, in our opinion, we find that Flower Trick and Knockoff are the 2 best moves that Meowscarada can have, and then in VGC, Protect is probably something that you'll absolutely need on Meowscarada if you're not locking into a move with, say, a Choice Band or a Choice Scarf or something like that. If you're playing in singles, I personally would not put in this Protect. I'd switch that with something like Play Rough. Or the nice thing about Meowscarada is that you can actually make it something of a special attacker, right? Greninja benefited greatly from that in previous generations. It had really high special attack and kind of high-ish attack stats. So you were able to put things like Ice Beam along with things like Water Shuriken and not really be punished too hard. If you do that, I wouldn't choose a Jolly nature. I would choose instead a Hasty nature. Much like Greninja had in the previous generation. But just to take note, again, Meowscarada does have lower base special attack than Greninja had higher attack. okay? But anyway, for this set, this is the Tera type that we're going to be focusing on, right? The Tera type is actually going to be rock for this. For the first set, you can really choose to your flavor to whatever type advantage you don't have or whatever type advantage you'd like to strengthen. Often you'd want to put that on Flower Trick. Now, this I think is a good time to talk about Flower Trick. Flower Trick is a move that does 70 base power, but always crits. Okay, so it's a move that effectively has 140 base power on every move, 100% accuracy. Imagine a 140 attack move that just can't crit. That's kind of the way that it is. Now, if you terrestrialize grass into that, that's going to be doing even more damage. That's basically saying that's 280 power on an attack because of that 2x stab. And then if you go in on a Pokemon that's super effective against, that's crazy big damage. Here in this set, we're going to be going Tera type rock just so that we have some extra coverage, right? You can Protean into the rock type, you can Tera type into the rock type, and then any kind of move that you terrestrialize into and attack into is now 2x damage, right? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? That's how Protean works, by the way, in this game. Whatever Tera type you change into, you will still have your terrestrialized type in there. So if you terrestrialize rock and then you Protean into rock, now you're doing stab damage, same type attack bonus, and you're doing terrestrialize extra damage, right? For this one, we select Life Orb as the item because it's always nice to just have that little bit of extra damage. You don't want to go in things like Choice Band or anything like that because you don't want to lock yourself in to any one of these moves. You want to have the opportunity to kind of switch between moves as you go. And then you have my personal set of Choice Band Meowscarada. I love Choice Band Meowscarada because you can just kind of leverage all 4 of your moves, really take advantage of the Protean ability, making it so that whatever the situation calls for, you can just change the type right to that. Much like the other sets that we've said before, you still want to have a jolly nature because you want this Meowscarada to be as naturally fast as possible, just to outspeed 1, other Meowscaradas, and 2, most of the current decks, right? It's not a super fast dex. Most of them kind of land between the 100 to 110, even a little bit lower than that speed stat. So base 123 is actually really fast in this generation. The moveset, we have Flower Trick, Knockoff, U-Turn, Play Rough. U-Turn is kind of the key move here. In terms of terrestrialization, you can kind of choose whatever, but again, I would usually go for Grass Tera just so that I can hit them with the Flower Trick if I have none of my moves that I really want to be using. Flower Trick usually will just do the trick. U-Turn is great because it does that stab bug damage, it gets you out of there, and then the next time you go in, next time you send out the Meowscarada, then you have another opportunity to Protean into another different type. Now, those are our 3 sets for Meowscarada. If you have a different set that you would like to use on Meowscarada, let me know. Tell me down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your opinions on this because I think that really now is the time that we can kind of figure out new sets and innovate on some of these new Pokemon, right? The only thing I will say about Meowscarada is it always needs that Protean ability because Grass and Dark is not a good type. Shiftry was bad. Cacturn was bad. And in this generation, we have 3 different Pokemon. 3 different Pokemon with the grass dark typing. One of them is a legendary. One of them is this one, and the other one is Brute Bonnet. So that's to say that the Pokemon that were given Grass and Dark in this generation were given that knowing that Shiftry exists, that Cacturn exists, and that both of those Pokemon were not good Pokemon. So to compensate for that, they made those 3 new Grass Dark types really strong. Okay, so do not sleep on Meowscarada. It's going to be really good. Same thing with Brute Bonnet and Wo-Chien, but don't worry about that right now. Right now, we're just talking about Meowscarada. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, for sticking around with me. Again, leave your suggestions down in the comments below. I would love to see it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.